They say when a baby is born, so is a mother. But while you are there to help your baby grow into the person he or she is meant to be, who is there to help you? Many women feel lost and alone when they become mothers, wondering, who am I now? Sometimes it feels like the transformation from woman to mother is as radical as a caterpillar's transformation into a butterfly. Did you know that inside the chrysalis, the caterpillar literally turns into goop before it rearranges itself into a butterfly? This podcast is about the goop, what soul transformation looks like as you transition from being a woman to a mom. Your baby's growth matters, but yours does too. You're not alone. I'm your host, Brittany Ming. Welcome to the Motherhood Metamorphosis. Hi everyone, welcome to the Motherhood Metamorphosis. My name is Brittany Ming. I'm your host, and today we are talking to Mikala Albertson. Mikala is a wife, family practice doctor, turned mostly stay-at-home mom to 5 kids, ranging from 16 to 5. She is passionate about the beauty of an ordinary life and writes under the name Ordinary on Purpose on social media. She will be releasing a book in March of 2022 titled Ordinary on Purpose, Surrendering Perfect and Discovering Beauty Amid the Rubble through Bethany House. Mikala hopes her writing will give permission to let go of should and have to and embrace who you already are, lovely and loved, imperfect and beautiful, ordinary and so very on purpose. I really love your introduction. I think it just highlights your writing so well.
I'm so glad to be here with you today.
Yeah, me too. I was excited to talk to you because I really honestly don't get to talk to moms of 5 that often. So,
and we have 4 boys, 1 girl.
Yep, same. So
Yep.
we do have
we both have an Eli. So
yeah, where does your Eli fall in your family?
My Eli is second. He's 14.
Okay, so my Eli is 6. So they are, and he's my 4th, my youngest boy. So. Okay. Where is your girl in the lineup?
She's the youngest.
Okay, same.
Yeah.
That's fun.
No, yes, she's 5. I don't have quite so little a one.
Yes, you started, I think, a little before me, and then our Grace was a surprise. So
yeah.
So when we were chatting about what we were going to talk about today, I said I thought it'd be fun if we wrote down some expectations versus reality for what we thought motherhood would be like. So I wrote down 5 and I wanted to share them, but I also wanted you to share yours. So how about you go ahead and we'll share what we thought motherhood would look like and then maybe what the reality has been.
Yeah, I thought that was a really fun topic. Instantly, I think I messaged you back, like instantly one came to mind. And that was, I really thought that I would be good at it.
Yes.
And I don't know where that came from. I think I thought I wanted to be a mom so badly that surely I would just be really good at it.
Right.
And, just figure it out. Right. And then when it turned out to be harder than I thought, and really, I did almost nothing perfectly, it really felt like a failure.
Yeah.
So I think that was the first one. I thought I would be good at it, but I'm coming to realize I'm 16 years in now, and I'm coming to realize that really when I allow my kids to see me as a person who messes up and who isn't perfect, when I show them my humanity, then they are able to, hopefully one day come into theirs, right? That they won't have that same expectation that I started out with. So.
Yeah, I think I had so many expectations too. I worked with kids a lot growing up. Did you do a lot of babysitting or like children's groups or anything like that?
I didn't babysit a ton. I'm the youngest. So
Okay.
I just have one older sister. She's 7 years older than me. I loved kids. I was always drawn to babies. I didn't babysit a super ton. We didn't have a lot of younger kids like on our block or anything, but I was always drawn to just kids in general in my jobs and things like that. So like in high school, I worked as a teacher's aide during my free period, and I did summer camps and things like that.
Yeah, so you had experience throughout. Do you think that colored how you thought motherhood was going to be?
Yeah, I think so. To be honest, I really did not have much experience with babies
Mm-hmm.
until I had a baby. So what's funny is I did like my pediatrics month in residency and I did my OBGYN month. And so I felt like, oh, I cannot wait until I get to be the one having a baby. Um, but I didn't have much experience really caring for a baby. So I think that was a little awakening for me. To be honest, I love babies. Babies are my jam. I'm a much better baby mom, I think, than I am older kid mom. So now I'm challenged all the time. Like, what am I supposed to do here? How do I handle this?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know how some moms are like, oh, babies. I'm so glad my kids are older now. I'm like, I don't know. I think I knew what to do better then.
Yes,
So,
I know people have their favorite stages and ages. And I think sometimes if you like love the baby stage, you miss it so much. But if you hate the baby stage, you can look forward to other stages. But I
yeah.
think if you only have like a baby and a 2-year-old and you're like struggling hard, you can think, okay, maybe it's not always going to be this way. It will get better. So
Yeah.
it might be not be your jam. So I found this funny. We were unpacking the other day because we just moved, and I found this notebook where I had written like my life goals at 16.
Cute.
So that was really funny. But one of them was have 6 kids and homeschool. And I read that to my boys, and they just busted out laughing because they were like, Mom, you already say there's so many of us. And I can't believe you wanted homeschool because we did homeschool last year during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And it was just hard, hard, hard. And they're all back in school this year and we're all very happy. So they thought that was really, really funny. But that was definitely an expectation I had.
Isn't that cute? I thought I would have four. Four was my plan.
Yes. And you had
So,
5.
and then we had five. Yep. I just really felt strongly like we needed one more. And
Yeah.
I wonder if, when we moved to Utah, everyone here has big families. And I do feel like, oh, everybody has big families. Like we can have one more, so five didn't seem too outrageous here.
Yeah. Yeah. When we had 4 boys, we thought we always did want to have a daughter. But after 4 boys, we kind of thought the odds are not in our favor to have a
Right.
girl.
Right.
And we need to stop. Like 4 is enough. And 4 boys is certainly a lot of boys.
A lot.
So we had stopped and I really had to kind of grieve the idea that I wasn't going to have a daughter because that was another one of my expectations before I ever had kids was when I imagined being a mother, I was just going to be a mom to girls.
Mm.
And I think that's because I grew up, I am one of 5, but we had 4 girls and 1 boy. It was exactly opposite. So I think being around sisters, just that was my expectation that I was going to have girls. So when I had all these boys, I was like, I don't know what to do with you boys. Like, what? What?
Yeah, so my husband is the oldest of 4 boys. And so when we had a boy and then we had another boy, I remember his mom being like, well, you're never going to have a girl. You're going to have 4 boys like we had, and then I was like, oh, I think she's right. Like suddenly I just fully embraced the boy mom role because we were following the trend, the kids were spaced the same ages and everything. So I think we were all a little surprised when Elizabeth came along.
Yeah. Yeah. Happy surprise and a shock
Surprise.
too. So speaking of your mother-in-law saying, "Oh, you're going to have 4 boys," I remember when my husband and I were dating, and people just said, "Oh, you're going to pay for your raising. You're going to have all your kids are going to be just like you," and all of his relatives would say that because he was just apparently just a little hellraiser, like when he was a kid, and just like everybody knew what kind of wild child my husband was. But I was like, no, I was so sweet. Like, surely they're going to get some of my genes. And like, I'm going to temper this thing out. No, all these kids are like him.
You've got 4 of them.
Yes, all the boys.
Well, maybe Gracie's like that too.
Yeah.
But I think that like segues into my next expectation.
Yes.
Is that I really thought I would have more control than I do. That I would be, since I'm the mom, I get to set the rules here. right? I enforce consequences. I get to control kind of how our house is run and things like that. And that then, with the right schedules and the right rules and the right things, that then I would have some control over who they were,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
And that is very much not the case. Certainly, we do get to set some schedules and, things. There are rules here. But like who they are is so out of your control.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not that it's out of control, though sometimes it feels that way, but it's just this process of discovery. Like the
Yeah.
fact that all these guidelines or parameters that the mom puts in place doesn't have as great of an outcome that you think it's going to have on these little people that just come into your life, and you're like, okay, you tell me who you are, and then we'll figure out what this is going to look like.
How do I figure out how to parent this child that I was given,
Yes.
instead of I'm going to parent this kid into being this way?
Right. Or parent the kid you imagined you were going to have.
Yeah.
Because I think it's is just natural. Like the minute you see that positive on the pregnancy test, your mind just leaps ahead to like the moment they're born and their first birthday and the first day of kindergarten and graduation and all the Christmases in between. I mean, I did at least. You just like in an instant, you see this whole life ahead of you, and you can't help but have these expectations that you think how you think motherhood's going to work out. And I know for me, it just has looked wildly different than all those instant imaginings when you have that positive pregnancy test.
Yeah. And how fun though that you get to discover like a person.
Yes. I think
Yeah.
that's a good perspective to have, because sometimes I think that's the healthy perspective, because I know for me, I've had to work through disappointment that my expectations did not meet reality, which I think is normal. And but I think we can get stuck there, like in that expectation versus reality grief. But like what you said, how exciting that we get to discover who this person is probably is a healthier way to look at how if things go differently than how you think they're going to go.
I mean, I think I have to revisit that time and again as my kids grow older and as they hit new stages, like, oh, suddenly I'm parenting this teenager that's not quite what I imagined a teenager would be like, or, oh, and I imagine that will be the case when we learn to parent our adult children, that each time we will realize, oh, I had these expectations that I didn't even really realize I had.
Mm-hmm.
And so who is the person that I'm actually being asked to love and parent?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that whenever I feel disappointed, I've learned to think, okay, well, how did I expect this to go?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a good question to ask, because I know for a long time when my kids were littler and I would feel disappointed, like if an outing to the pumpkin patch or whatever didn't go how it planned, and I'd feel so disappointed. And then I realized, like, well, how did I think this was going to go? Did I think they were going to like all skip happily like through the fields and be like, oh, mommy, thank you for bringing us here today? And reality was like they were falling in the mud and like nobody wanted to walk, and like the pumpkin cracked. Like, stuff happens that's real life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think I've learned to temper my expectations, but that disappointment still comes up. And then I've learned to say, okay, what expectation is this disappointment butting up against? And how can I learn to have better expectations? And my husband will say, you just don't need to have expectations. But I'm like, I cannot not have expectations. That's just who I am.
Yeah. I think that is an unreasonable expectation.
Yeah, that's right. I will feed him that line next time. I'm sure that will go very well.
Okay, so next, which really fits right in with what we're talking about, is that I imagined that I could parent each of my kids the same way. That, what worked for number 1 and 2 and 3 would most surely work for number 4, right? That those were tried and true systems that would just work. And so I really thought 1 and 2 and 3, I thought I'd seen every possible version of Albertson. And then I was surprised when like number 4 did not fit that mold. And I feel like he specifically needs to be parented in a different way. Well, maybe number 3 does too, but they're so different from each other. So I think figuring out how to have house rules, right, and family values and things like that, but how do I tailor that and individualize that to these very different and unique kids that all have to live here? I'm still figuring that one out.
Yeah, me too. That's really a good observation, because sometimes the kids even will, come up against you and say, well, that's not fair.
For
all
sure.
the time. Like, well, he didn't have to, or you didn't do that for. And we'll have conversations like, well, you're different people. You're different people. And even because we have identical twins, and it comes up even stronger, I think, in that instance, because we'll say, even though you're twins, like, you're different people and you have different needs, but it is hard and it does cause tension. But I think that the tension doesn't always have to be a bad thing, because there's tension in any relationship. And when you're in relationship, you have to work through all those challenges of meeting that person's needs, not just, all the children are a group, like each individual need. Like you were talking about parenting your 4th child versus your 3rd child versus your first 2 children.
Yeah. And we have to figure out how to live here together, all of us. And so, sometimes you just have to change things so that it works for everyone.
Yeah.
And lots of times it's not fair here.
Yeah.
And that's a continual conversation that we have to have. You're right. It's not really fair. Or we did that wrong with you. And so we're doing this with the next kid in line or something, Yeah,
I think that takes humbleness too, because it's hard to admit, like, man, that didn't work, or we made a mistake. And I think parenting can be really super humbling. But I want to be humble too, because I feel that that's a connecting virtue.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to connect with my kids. So even if I have to humble myself, like, that's worth it to me.
Yeah, and connect with them in a very real way.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've never had more meaningful conversations with my older boys than when, like, we're riding along in the car, and we've had some of the most meaningful conversations that we've had have been in the car. You're just riding along. It's impromptu, but somehow something comes up. And the ones I can think of have been like after a basketball game when it's late or something. And when you really share something meaningful, like from when you were growing up, or a mistake you made, or, something where, like you said, you're humbled, your own learning experiences you're sharing with them, and then they get to see that you really aren't perfect, that you really are just a person. So I hope that I can have that connection going forward, right? Because these are like real people that are going to grow up and go do their own thing. And I think I hope my job is so much bigger than just, here's what you do to be a good person and succeed in life, right? I hope for real relationship.
Yeah, me too. I think that a lot of times I get caught up in my role as a mom and like doing just X, Y, Z, like feed the children, clothe the children, give hugs and kisses before bed. And I have to make that conscious effort to show up as myself with them. And that's, though, when I find that really meaningful experience that you were talking about when you have those conversations with your kids. And I think that I didn't even know when I became a mom how beautiful that can be.
Sure.
And that's something that I think that has been beyond my expectations of what I thought motherhood would be.
Yeah. And it seems like that seldom happens when we are all together as a family and trying to do something like go to the pumpkin patch or whatever, that they tend to happen when we're more one-on-one and it kind of an unplanned experience. That, to me, that's often when the most meaningful connections are had.
Yeah, I've realized that too. Sometimes my husband and I laugh because I'm like, I really like our kids one-on-one, but as a group, they're like feral animals. Just
And then it's easy to fall into we need to eat. You need to go up to the shower. Did you get your chores done? Is your homework finished? Put away your shoes, right? Like you kind of
yeah.
become like the mom
Mm-hmm.
when they're all together and it's a noisy, chaotic group.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that making that effort to have the one-on-one time or the two-on-one time, like tomorrow night,
Yeah.
my twins are turning 14 tomorrow. So
Okay.
I got a babysitter, and my gosh, that was an ordeal to try to find a babysitter in a new town.
Yeah, I
We went
bet.
to like 5 different venues trying to find a babysitter, but I did find one for the little ones. And then we are going to the zoo tomorrow as a family, but tomorrow night we're taking them out to Japanese hibachi, and we've never done that before.
Oh, how
And
fun.
I'm really looking forward to just having the older two, because I think I'm hoping it will be a really good time. So there's my expectations.
Yeah.
Like, this is
Yep.
going to be great. This is going to be really good. So I hope it will be good.
This is going to be so meaningful.
I
And
know.
then
We're going to have such good conversation.
the expectation is no expectation, I guess.
I know. I know.
Uh,
So I hope it'll be good. It should be, because we rarely do anything just with the two of them. And I miss that because we didn't have any more kids for 5 years after they were born. And I remember when we were just this little family of four for the first 5 years. And sometimes I think back to that and I'm like, oh, it'll just be the four of us again tomorrow
yeah.
night.
Yeah. I think often the effort is enough, right? Whatever happens after that, like there you are on their birthday, they're turning 14, you've made a special date with them and a babysitter. And so whatever happens after that, right? Like sometimes I think the effort is enough.
But I like that you said the effort is what matters, and resting in that knowledge, I think, can give peace if you're
Yeah.
a person like me who gets stuck in disappointment a lot of times.
Yeah. So my number 4 on the list was um, similar to that. I really thought motherhood was about big moments, because what you see of motherhood out there in the world is like what you see in the movies and what you see in commercials and stuff like that, right? So I thought it was about like holidays and vacations and special family traditions and like a designated game night or whatever, and those are all very lovely, but I really thought that was motherhood, and I'm learning that mostly motherhood happens in like ordinary moments,
Mm.
and some of the most meaningful things are just small and simple, right? Like motherhood happens when I'm just sitting playing Barbies on the floor on like a random Tuesday afternoon, and so really that effort and that just being present, even if it's a really small thing, is enough.
Yeah, I was thinking about that this morning when I was making chocolate chip cookies, because that's what one of my sons requested for his birthday dessert.
Mm.
And Grace, who's 2, was sitting on the counter with me, and she asked to lick the beater.
Mhm.
And she was licking the beater and smiling. And I did take a picture of her, but I thought, like, this is like my favorite thing is like this little fuzzy headed toddler who's just wearing underwear and a t-shirt,
Yeah,
licking the beater and being happy. And we're together making cookies.
yeah,
And that was like super special. And we don't make cookies that often. It's not like a super regular thing, but
sure.
that was really, I just wanted to capture that in my heart, you know?
Yeah,
And think like this moment is special to me, that ordinary moment.
yeah. Just a little small thing. Um, my middle boys all go to school early, and then my high schooler doesn't have to be there till 8:45. And so this morning I took a picture because I'm sitting at the kitchen table and he's sitting there, and we had donut holes at our house this morning. And he's sitting there eating, and Lizzie just came and like crawled up beside him. And then it was just the two of them sitting having donut holes. And I'm going out of town next week. So they were talking about how he's going to babysit her because he'll be on fall break. And it was just the sweetest, it was a 10-minute little passing exchange that I just sat and thought, this is the greatest thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I think of, that at the end, like the Christmas story where it says Mary took up all these things and pondered them in her heart. And I just love that image of like taking these moments that maybe you don't even understand fully in the long run, like an ordinary moment, and just like treasuring them in your heart to ponder them. And I think that applies to these small moments of motherhood where you'll remember that in the future. Or maybe not. Maybe it'll slip away, but like that tenderness remains.
Yeah, I agree that you noticed it for a minute,
Yeah.
even as it went by, and it didn't have to be anything big, but that you stopped to just notice your life as it's happening, right?
Yeah. I think back when you were talking about how you thought motherhood was about the big moments like holidays. I especially thought about Christmas morning and
Mm-hmm.
how there's just this big expectation of the how Christmas morning is going to look from movies or maybe from our own childhood, or like maybe
Sure.
we didn't have in childhood but we want to project to our own kids. And for me, I mean, we've had quite a few Christmas mornings now, 13 Christmas
Yeah.
mornings. And honestly, Christmas morning is super stressful in our house. It is so out of routine that everybody gets agitated because everybody is like ADHD or on the spectrum in our house and has to have a routine. So everybody gets like really anxious, including my husband, and like starts yelling at each other. And we're like, just sit down and watch your brother open his gift. Like, be grateful that you got a present. And then everybody's kind of stressed out.
Yeah.
Everybody's like stressed out and needs a nap. And so I'm like, this is not fun and how I thought it should go. But we have this pattern of doing this. So we've done a couple different things with Christmas in the past years. Some of them have been more successful than others, but just knowing that whatever we think Christmas or the big thing needs to look like, it doesn't have to look that way if it's not working for your family.
Right. Yeah. Growing up, my mom loves Christmas. And so we always had sort of special, fancy Christmas. Everyone was wearing beautiful clothing. Everyone took turns opening their gift. It was just my sister and I, we were 7 years apart. So you would sit and you would watch someone open their gift. And it was slow. And, then I had all these kids. I had 4 boys, and they're either 2 or 3 years apart. And that just wasn't going to work for our family. And so our Christmas is typically shirtless kids who have come downstairs, and they all just, it's just like a crazy, they all tear into it. And I don't even know who's opening what, but I realized that it was just going to make us all miserable if I was like, stop it, pay attention, he's opening his gift. And I just had to let it be what it is.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I wrote something last year or the year before about how Christmas is cumulative.
Yes.
And how
I remember reading that, and that was a really beautiful article.
Yeah, because I think you have in your head, we're going to watch all the movies and we're going to make all the treats and we're going to go look at Christmas lights. And one year we went and rode the train. Like I had all these things that I thought would have to happen every year for it to be special. But most of the time we do maybe one of those things. But I'm watching my older boys have this memory of Christmas as if it's this special thing that we have all these traditions, they don't even realize like, oh, we did that like once, 1 year we all wore matching pajamas when you were little or whatever. And that counts, like it does add up in their head to Christmas being special.
Yes, it does count. You can't think like, oh, I did that one time, and because we never did it again, I'm a failure. Like you did it one time. That was amazing. Like you made that happen.
Yeah. Early on, though, I thought we're going to get new Christmas pajamas every year, and that is going to be our tradition. We're going to take a picture in our pajamas that all match. And that happened like once.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's how it goes.
It is how it goes. But it's okay. It really is okay.
Yeah, it all counts. Yeah. And then the last one I had thought of is that I thought, and I remember having this feeling even as my first child was born, like, oh, this is all going to go so fast. and it's going to end. Like I had this just little bit of dread, even on like the very first day, like, oh my gosh, I need to soak it all in because like one day it's all going to be over. And tragically, like I won't be a mom anymore. Right. And I think we're told that all the time,
Oh, yes.
all the time. And I understand why people say that because I do look at moms with a baby and a toddler now at Target or whatever, and I do look at them a little wistfully. But I'm realizing that I'm never gonna not be a mom to these kids. That really you do just grow and change and morph into something new for them. You become a new person in their lives. And so I don't think, I'm learning to let go of the urgency, I think, to just soak it all in and enjoy it, enjoy it, enjoy it, because it's going to be over. And I hope that I can be that for other people, not you're going to miss this person, even though I look at them at Target and think, oh gosh, a baby, a newborn. But just to enjoy what you can and realize like the next season, this bit watching my now kids in their tweens and their teens is really lovely too. And I love how our relationship has changed over time, right? You do get to become a little bit more of a friend and you get to know them, a little on just a different level. And that's really beautiful too. So
Yeah, there is so much pressure. I think social media plays into this. And even just when you go to see older relatives or whatever it is, there's just pressure to soak it all in. And I think that there's almost like a pre-mourning, like, oh, I need to feel sad at every new milestone because they're no longer doing X, Y, and Z. They're no longer saying Paschetti. They no longer put their shoes on the wrong feet. They no longer love Elmo, like they used to way back 10 years ago when Sesame Street was their favorite show. I remember reading something one day, or maybe I heard it, I can't remember, but somebody said, oh, when you have a family, there's always something to look forward to. And I thought, what a beautiful perspective. Then instead of saying like, hang on, you're going to miss it, you're going to miss it, saying there's always something to look forward to. Whether you have a child graduating or you have a baptism or you have the first dance at your wedding or a grandchild or the recital or like whatever it is, there's something to look forward to.
I love that.
Have a family.
I was thinking the other day about how funny it is that if my children grow up and get married, if they have a family, there's a whole bunch of people that I haven't met yet that will be part of our family that I'm just going to adore, and you don't have any idea who that is yet. And so I think what a gift that is to know maybe that's coming or to experience that as it happens. And so I think there's a lot of beauty yet to come too. So.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think that can be like a widening perspective as opposed to time is running out, or I missed it. Or even if you're going through a super hard season or years with your kid, holding on to hope that things are going to get better and not getting so down on yourself that the tween years or the toddler years or whatever it is really difficult. You haven't missed out on all the beauty that motherhood has for you because you're going through a hard time.
Yeah. One fun fact about me is that I still scrapbook. Like I old school print pictures and put them in a scrapbook with some writing. And so I have baby books that are completed for each of my children, and I have one for every year.
Oh, I love that.
And I love them, but I do now, when I look back, it is almost painful sometimes I love it and it's beautiful and what beautiful memories those are, but I do, oh gosh, that was so beautiful. I miss it. So I do understand that sentiment, but I hope always to remember that, but also appreciate, where you're at and the beauty of today.
Yeah. I think that's the motherhood experience, is that it's so complex. It's like we want to boil it down to like the one thing, or the sweet emotion or the enjoy it while you can or the platitude, but it's just so many things. And making room for that both and I think can be like a generous gift to ourselves to say, I miss it and I'm grateful and I'm sad and I'm excited for the future. Like all of those emotions are valid.
All of those things. Yeah, I love that.
Well, this was such a great conversation, Mikala.
Yes.
Were you able, we reached all five, right? I want to make sure. Okay. Yeah. And I think I squeezed mine in there too as we were talking. So, what a beautiful conversation. So, to end our time, I have these 10 rapid fire questions that I like to ask guests that are just for fun.
Okay.
So, number one, which Disney princess would you want to take out for coffee?
I really like the girl from Tangled.
Me too.
I just like her. She's kind of quirky and often barefoot. And I don't know, I just think she's a lot of fun.
She has lots of hobbies too. So I think you could always find something to talk about. It's very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Number two, what's one thing you must have on your nightstand?
I have a big water and I have a Bible on my nightstand.
Yes, you have to have both. Yes, you got to have your water and you got to have the Word of God.
That's right.
Number three, what's your go-to treat after the kids go to bed?
Oh, hands down, ice cream. I have ice cream every day.
Yeah, I would like to have ice cream every day, but sometimes we run out and I'm like, I just need to order some more from the grocery order.
Yeah, we have a grocery store in our neighborhood.
Oh, nice.
And now that I have a driver who stays up late, I have been known to just be like, will you please go over to the store and get some ice cream?
I'm looking forward to that. In fact, today I thought, man, I really wish you could drive because I don't want to go to the store. And then I'm like, do I really wish that?
Yeah, maybe not yet, but it is a good part of them getting older when they can run little errands for you or he helps drop off kids. So yeah.
That's good. All right, number four, heels or flats?
Flats. Yeah, I used to love heels once upon a time in college. No more.
I think that has been the prevailing story of many women I have talked to is that they were a heels lover and now they're like practical all the way.
All the way. In fact, I wear like running shoes every day. I don't even just wear flats, but I wear running shoes. In residency, I wore heels to the hospital.
That's hardcore, Mikala.
It was, unless I was on call. But during the day, if I was on rounds and whatever, like I was on heels.
That's awesome. And you're like, no more running shoes.
Yeah, for sure.
Number five, last show you binged and loved.
Oh, gosh, there's so many. We've watched everything during our time at home in quarantine. We used to not have anything, and now we have it all: Netflix, Hulu, whatnot. So I just finished Schitt's Creek for a second time.
Nice. I love Schitt's Creek, and I think I love the gifts even more.
Yeah, oh, me too. There's so many, and they're so good for every occasion.
They are.
Anytime you need to say anything, you can say it.
Yes, with a gift. Yes. Yeah. All right. If you run out of this, and we talked about ice cream. So other than ice cream, if you run out of this, you have to go to the store.
Diet Mountain Dew.
Diet Mountain Dew. I saw you when we were Zooming the other day, I saw you drinking Mountain Dew and I'm like, I kind of love that she drinks Mountain Dew. I like that.
It's the worst, and diet, no less. Like, I cannot stop. I don't love coffee. So my caffeine comes through pop. But I mean, so if that's gone, I'm going to go to the store because I'll have a headache if I don't have it.
That's right.
So I just haven't quite grown up all the way yet.
That's good. That's good. And plus, you need caffeine. You have 5 kids and you have to get through the day.
Yep.
Who makes you laugh?
Oh, I really, really have just the best girlfriends. I mean, my kids make me laugh and my husband makes me laugh, but I feel like some of my best girlfriends, like their brand of humor and sarcasm is just so good that like I think the hardest I've ever laughed in my life is just my close girlfriends.
That's great. Texting or talking?
Depends on who it is. I understand that many people prefer texting, and so I try to accommodate that for my different friends. But if given the option, I would prefer to talk on the phone. So I have a handful of people who I think understand that about me, and so they'll give me an hour every now and again.
Oh, that's special. What are you looking forward to?
I have all kinds of things. I think I'm really looking forward to the holiday, and then closely following that, my book comes out. And so I just think most of the time in the back of my head, I'm thinking a lot about how that's going to go, and just I'm excited. I think some of the hard work has been done, the editing is done, but so now I get to just enjoy what comes next, I think.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that for you too. I'm living vicariously through your book experience.
Thank you.
All right. Final question. Finish this sentence. Motherhood is.
Motherhood is bittersweet.
Hmm.
I say that a lot. I think that's the perfect description of motherhood, because it's hard and it's messy, and it does go really fast, and we miss the times when they're little, and I can see now that my oldest is leaving in another year and a half, right? And yet there are just these moments that are so sweet, like donut holes this morning, or Barbies with Lizzie, or whatever. So I think I often say the perfect description for motherhood is bittersweet.
I love that. All right. If you would like to find Mikala on social media, you can find her on Facebook, Instagram, and her blog at Ordinary on Purpose. You can also pre-order her book on Amazon, and I will post the link in the show notes so that we can all check that out. It's going to be really beautiful, and I'm excited about it. So thank you so much for being here today, Mikala. I really love talking to you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Motherhood Metamorphosis. If you've enjoyed this episode, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe to this channel so you never miss an episode. Next, tell your friends. Podcasts are a slow growth type of social media, so promo works best when it's from person to person. If you know another mom who's in the goop right now, send her a text of encouragement and the link to the episode that is speaking to your heart right now. If you have a story about your own matrescence, the physical, emotional, hormonal, and social transition that occurs when someone becomes a mother, please leave a comment below. I want this channel to be a place where women can build community about the challenges and joys of their own motherhood metamorphosis. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope it encouraged you and gave you some good food for thought. If you ever have any questions, comments, or you'd like to reach out to me personally, you can email me at brittanyaming@gmail.com. Hang on. Hey, buddy. I'm actually on an interview right now.
Well, our bus broke down and we were on the bus for 2 hours.
I know. I actually called the school and I was wondering where you guys were. Okay. Do you know what? I'm talking to a lady right now. Can you guys eat your lunch, please? What is it?
Just to say.
What is it?
Mr. Kevin, our bus driver, his bus crashed. Now he uses bus 15.
Okay.
The thing nobody uses.
Is he okay?
No.
Okay.
No, the bus works.
Okay. Can you guys go finish your lunch and then you can either watch TV or play outside? Shut my door, please. Bye, honey. Okay.
This cute boy.
Thank you.